What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a little bit different. I'm going to be running through a bit of a tutorial for you guys on how I made this video, ping pong versus tremor. This video blew up a few years back and it's now sitting over like 45 million views or something like that. I think it's close to 50 million views, which is absolutely insane for something that I made so long ago and put zero effort into it. But I have had a lot of people ask me how I made that video, what kind of things I'm using, and we're gonna dive into that today. So let's go. All right, so for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna chuck some headphones on, recording Ableton straight up. As you can see, got my little toolbox here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna firstly open up, let's delete this serum. All right, so obviously the first thing I wanna do is get a copy of Ping Pong versus Tremor, well, a copy of Ping Pong first, and I'm gonna sample bits and pieces from that song, cut them up first, down here on the MIDI Fighter 3D, which I've got around the wrong way at the moment. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna drop that in. Just give this a couple of seconds to warp. Bum, 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 bum. Cool, all right. Having it warped is gonna make it so much easier to chop up and throw down onto the MIDI Fighter. So jumping into this one, got a few samples here. All right, so we've got two samples there. I'm just gonna go Control E on my keyboard, and I'm currently using Ableton Live for those who want to know. For this part, I'm gonna just maybe turn that off, move that over here, and we'll come back to that later. The main parts I want are the little dings, so the little percussion sounds. That's kind of cool. So I'm gonna Control E to slice that and just drag it over here out of the way. And we'll delete that part as well. And then this other one here, ding, dong. Cool. So most of these are the same. So these are all the same. And then there's two different keys here for this one. So I'm gonna grab those ones as well and copy and paste them over here. For the rest of this, I'm actually gonna move this back up here and we'll come back to that later. I just wanna show you guys how I sampled this, and then what we'll do is we'll move over to the drum pad, which is back over here. And yeah, we'll play it on there. So first thing I'm gonna do is dive in here. We can turn this volume back up now, actually. Ooh, that sound, I love that. Cool, let's play that again. Nice, that's sounding really loud, so it's great. All right. So I'm just gonna slice out some of this and then, all right, I just want the start of this. Now there's a bit of an under bass line there with a whole bunch of distortion on it, or a bit crusher, and I don't want much of that. I just want the percussion element. So I'm gonna do a little fade. Probably a bit too much there, probably less. Just that first part. You can hear this still a little bit, but I don't want to take too much away. That's nice.
Nice.
So now I'm just going to drag this particular one. I'm just going to click firstly Control J just to consolidate that. And I'm going to drag this down onto its own audio channel. And I'm going to do this for the rest of these as well. So I'll just do that real quick. All right, 3, 4, all right. Now I'm just powering through this. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, that's cool. And this one as well. Sounds all right. All right, now that one's got a really long tail on it, so I have to keep that in mind because I want that to still stay there. I'm gonna make that last one really wet because I don't want to lose too much. All right, that's kind of cool. I'm just gonna consolidate these as well. Command J if you're on a Mac, Control J I think if you're on a Windows computer. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna space these out across Ableton just so I've got enough room, because what I'm gonna do after this is add some reverb and echo, and I don't want them to clash. So I'm just gonna space them out, and we can delete these here because I can just always re-grab them if I need to. Let's grab some reverb. So I'm just gonna go to my favorites folder here, and trusty Ableton Reverb is one of my faves. I actually absolutely love the sound of this actually. Nice, that's tight. I like this preset that I've already saved here on my reverb. It's 29% wet, and then the delay on this is about 4 or 5 milliseconds. So that's perfect. Sorry, 5 seconds, not milliseconds. Now that's pretty good for this particular sound. Nice, that sounds good. That sounds good as well. And I'm just gonna chuck a EQ on here as well because there's still a little bit of that bass in there. Not too much. All right, that'll do. I probably cut that one a little bit too short, so I might just quickly go and grab that again and chuck that down here. That sounds good. And that last one as well, I'm gonna grab that again because I cut that a bit too short as well. Way too much bass there. Yep. Now that's the good thing about live. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're creating something live. The imperfections are often the most exciting part. I mean, look at drummers, for example. They play stuff out of time for a reason. So, I mean, that can definitely apply to EDM, right? Let's see. Cool, now that I've got all those cut, that one probably needs a little bit more of a fade. I'm saying it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Cool. I'm not going to bother consolidating that because I'm just going to freeze this track. So if I right click on the channel and click freeze track, boom. All right. And then I'm just going to right click again and click flatten. So that's going to consolidate the reverb with these clips, and we're going to have nice clean samples. So I'm just going to bring these in. They don't have to be too long. And then just add a little fade at the end. Cool. Oops, Command Z to undo that. All right, and another fade here. And just drag that one across. All right, another fade there. Cool. All right, so that's all 4 samples. I've just got one more. Cool, that's all 4 samples. What I'm gonna do is just consolidate these real quick. And then I'm gonna drop them on, I'm gonna create a new MIDI track. And in this MIDI track, I actually like to use drum racks because I am a drummer. And just, I don't know, something about them, they're so versatile. So I'm just gonna drag these in. Cool, that's looking good. 2, 3, and then 4. So before I put things onto the drum pad, I really love to cut them up in Ableton first, sample them from songs, cut them up in Ableton, get them perfect before I put them onto the drum pad, save me having to go backwards and forth. And then from there, I'll go and create the backing tracks, which has those elements removed from the track. And then that allows me to play them live with the backing track that I create. So I'll show you what I do here is just have a little, I guess, jam in the studio, make sure they sound okay. The jam's not gonna be exactly like the song. Obviously, don't wanna get pinged for copyright, so let's have a little play. That one's not too perfect. I think I could have made that one a little bit better, so I might just quickly fix that. And we'll cut that. You know what? Stuff it, we'll just leave it. That's fun. All right, so now that I've had a play around and I've got my samples ready to go, I'm gonna chuck them over onto the drum pad, and they're already still on the drum pad because obviously I made this song ages ago, but I'm gonna show you guys just quickly through the backing track that I made as well. So I'm just gonna drag that into Ableton here. Oh, helps if I drag it onto an audio track. So I'm just gonna create a new one, pushing Control T, Command T, sorry, and drag in Licklebeat Live Ping Pong. Now, I'll just click unwarp because for the sake of this tutorial, I don't really need it to be warped. So this is a mashup that I made. It has the bass element from the start of the Ping Pong track. And what I've done is I've just taken a small portion of that, looped it around a whole bunch of times. And as you can see here, you can see it in the waveform here. It's all just a loop, and I've added my own bit of bip crush to make it stand out. So I've got something in the background when I'm playing. I've also made it super long, and then what I'll do is I'll show you guys on the CDJs in just a moment how I have my cue points and stuff so I can play it live, and then I'll do a quick playthrough for you guys as well. So of course a bit of a, let's turn that down. Of course a bit of an intro. Cool. Let's turn that off. So that first part of the track, I will obviously mixing, and then as you can hear, the bass is coming in now. And it just does that for about a minute. A minute 30 actually, it does that. So that gives me plenty of time to jam out. On the drum pad, obviously I don't bring this with me on stage, the MIDI Fighter 3D that is. Yeah, I can create the original melody, play that live so people are like, oh okay, Ping Pong, yeah, I know, I've heard that song before. And then I'll do some live stuff, and that's when people are like, oh, okay, he's actually doing it live, and that gets me to, yeah, mix things up. I also made, just pausing that quickly, I also made another one of this sample with a whole bunch of reverb. So I can play those 4 first, and then that one to finish off my little live bit with a really long drawn out reverb, so that's when people are like, oh okay, he's done, and then I can get into the rest of the song, and that's how I use the cue points and the CDJs. So this is the section here which is all bass, and then it'll slowly come into, which is a mashup, so the Ping Pong mashup versus Tremor. I can't actually remember who the original creator of this one was. From my memory here, I've got Devi's Bang and Ed Shock Edit. So credit to those guys for making this sick mashup. Let's jump over to the CDJs and the drum pad, and I'll show you guys how I have it set up. Alright, so now bringing you guys over to the decks, I've got Ping Pong loaded up here on the screen, Ping Pong, and I've got a Camelot mixing wheel here so I know if I want to do some live mash stuff. I've got my edit loaded here, ready to go on CDJ. So these are the Pioneer CDJ, the Nexus Mark IIs, or 2000s Mark IIs, sorry. Let's jump in and have a look at this. So, as I mentioned before when I was showing you guys over in Ableton, here's the track. It drops down, as you can see, just a plain bass form, bass waveform. You guys should be able to hear that now. Let's double check. Cool, and this is where I'll jam out. This is the track I was on a CDJ, and I've got Ping Pong loaded up here. So this is what I would do live. Now, there is that extra one that I spoke about. Here. It's really, really wet. I made this actually quite some time ago, so yeah. Throw some cymbals in there as well. Jam out over this section, and then once that's done, I'll leave a moment of silence just so, I don't know, the crowd can see what's going on, see that I'm playing live, just brag a little bit, I guess, while I'm on stage. And then what I'll do is I've got my hot cue set up here and go straight into the next section here. Cool. Alright guys, that's all for this video here. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any questions at all, sound off down below in the comments and I'll reply to each and every one of your questions. Maybe not straight away, but I'll get to everybody if you have any questions in regards to how I play live, or how I made this particular track, or if you want any tips and tricks, yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. As always, thanks so much for watching my YouTube channel. You can see me on all social medias at LukeLaBeat, all one word, LUKELABEAT. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next one.